The mics. How many mics we have today? 2 mics today? 2 mics? Okay. Okay.
Yes, he does. Don't worry about it. I took care of
it. Gary Mukhan? You ready? Okay. Gary. Every day with Gary. Can you come on time? Gary, you ready now? Guys, you want to see a nigga?
He's honestly not ready. He really is. You can understand it.
Now, you ready? Okay.
Understand the
Good morning, Rabbi Sai. Ah! It's for all those kids out there, it's not I. Just want to clarify that. Yosef. Today is a big day, Rabbi Sai. I'm so proud of myself, as always. It's 849 days straight. No scuba diving, no skiing. And then you guys send me pictures of skiing. It's mamish lifnei iver. Did I make a shackle on this? I want to give a shout out to all the new guys. Where are you from in the back? Brooklyn. I just want to. What's your name?
Hold on.
Oh,
yeah, you have to start over.
Again?
Yeah. Look at the screen.
We're not starting all over again. Really?
Bezer Hashem, next quarter we're going to have somebody else on.
Wow, I'm already getting replaced. I'm 2 minutes in. I start over again? Who cares about the Zoomers?
Zoom problem.
Yeah. Do you have it on YouTube?
It works for me.
I'll give you a second. It's like every day I deal with this. It's ridiculous. Smack to do da da, get smack to do da da, ay 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 ay, get smack to do da da, ay ay ay, get smack to do da da. Do me a favor, Ali. Can you bang the table, please? I'm telling you. Gary, maybe if you wouldn't bang the table. Oh yeah, yeah. This is great. Exactly. It's not on my time. Wow, you don't understand. This is every day. Every day.
We need a cable from America.
Yeah.
The real.
Oh, that is much better. Oh, much better. Great job, Gary.
People think it's part of the shtick.
Yeah. Yeah.
Forget Zoom now? It stopped flickering.
That's because it's off. Gary Mukhan? Nope.
Okay, no Zoom today.
No Zoom today. We have YouTube. It's working, Gary? All right, YouTube's on. That's what we care about. All right. I made a shackle, right? Yeah, okay.
And you asked.
From the top.
And you wanted to saw it.
Go right there, Gary. You got a top there.
Yeah.
It's a long one.
It's big Daf.
For the tires.
All right, we're just going to keep going. Okay. Why don't we just do the audio for them then for now? Fine. All right. We have a big daf today. Very good. So we only have to go through 300 or emails. Every time, by the way, I mention 300 or 400, it's Loshen Guzma, in case you're an exaggeration, in case you guys don't know. I mean, look at all these emails. You guys look at these. Gary, do we have time for a story now? No. Okay, fine. I'll tell you anyways. So one time I was fighting 6 armed guys with one arm tied behind my back. And then my wife comes in and ruins the whole story. Anyways, I was up at 2:30 in the morning preparing. And I realized we have over 100 guys flying in for the Siyum. It's mamish incredible, Rabbi Isai. So I realized we need a new raffle for all the barbers that are convincing people to join the daf. Here is a new tour that they could win at the Siyum. So from 3 a.m. to 6:30, you could spend one-on time with Avi Gargir. Avi, get over here! Come here! Avi, get over here! What's wrong with your friends? They only recognize you when you get a shout out and cheer? What kind of friends are those? 6:30 to 7:08, you're going to get davening. Please do not daven out loud next to me, by the way. It drives me crazy, guys, daven out loud. I cannot, the worst, by the way. It's a pet peeve of mine. 7:08 to 7:11, stand next to the illustrious Rabbi Dr. Avi Factor for his very concise Divrei Torah. 7:11 to 7:15, fight with 49 other guys to get your hot cocoa, then promptly spill it over someone else's Gemara, and then get a latte like a real adult. 7:15 to 7:18, you can wait outside for me to show up. 7:18 to 8:06, sit in the guest seat. Under no circumstances do you dare put any body part in my camera window. Do not block any of my attention whatsoever. And yeah, please, Ellie, back up. And even worse than that, God forbid you should ever walk behind me at any point. Forget about it. You're disinvited ever again. 8:20 to 9 o'clock, you get to drive up the Ayalon, because if I would finish the shiur at 8 o'clock on time, there'd be no traffic. I'll let that settle in for a second. 9 to 9:30, discuss all the machlokes with Hillel. He's not here. 9:30 to 10 o'clock, you get to count how many minutes we've learned with David Feinberg. 10 to 10:30, stunt training with my body double, Yosef Erman. You think it's easy to stand on these tables or lay down or climb on top lions? That's why we have a stunt double. By the way, I don't know if you guys know this, but I used to play basketball. So we need a little exercise. You can walk with Mondo for an hour, then catch pigeons for the shiur. 12 to 1, come to the kollel and learn with this Belzer Chassid who knows Shas. This guy knows Shas cold. It's crazy. And I just want to tell you about our kollel. These guys get the highest scores in Dirshu. 97, 100. But this guy, crazy how he knows. Finally, 1 to 3 p.m., you get to go to the Merkaz and harass people with timer to join the daf, by the way. This is an incredible raffle. You don't want to miss it. So all the barbers, sign up now. So we're running late, but I got to read this email. One email, and I'm going to try not to break down and cry, because when I sob when I'm reading this. Dear Harav Hagoyin at Tzaddik, Rav Eli Shlita. So true. Please don't read this email out loud. I grew up in Brooklyn, wasting my time playing with my friends on the stoops of our houses, chasing the mice from our houses into the gutter. Mice. You know, that reminds me of one of my favorite charts. I don't know if you guys have seen this one, but this is the shrotzim. Everyone thinks this is what the shrotzim actually are. And if you want to know in particular, the lizard, this guy's actually the real sheretz, in case you haven't heard that once or 500 times yet. So then I went to yeshiva and kollel, and I learned be'iyam, but I never made a siyum. And when I left kollel and work, I realized if I can't learn be'iyam, then why bother learning? I haven't picked up a Gemara in 37 years. What is that? What's that noise outside? No, can you tell the wind to stop blowing? I get very disturbed. Any little noise is very distracting to me. You know that. Then my friends, F37, F245, B718, W497, L453, and RBS 175 did me the biggest favor of my life and introduced me to your shiur. You know, I don't like any favors. Favors are the most expensive thing someone can give you. You don't want favors are the most expensive. What I want is something super top of the line. Okay, Gary. I mean, do you hear that? Oh, Gary. I mean, bring me someone new to the shiur. That's really what I want, unless it's really expensive. Okay, until Beitza. I finally made my first siyum on Beitza. Could you imagine all the learning this guy did? Never made a siyum, 37 years. Gemara Beitza, Mom has changed my life. And Mom has changed my... Okay, we don't have time for that. Okay, I mean, when you finally explain to me on Daf Yud Gimel what Tuma is, right, and Truma and Maisus are all about with that incredible chart. Where is that? 1 second. Oh, here we go. Here we go. For the old guys, you guys are sick of this, but it's so geschmack. And for the new guys, whatever. We've been through this many times. Okay. And then you explain so clearly what rubbing mustard was all about with peanuts. What's with you and the peanuts, Eli? I mean, I seem to recall another instance of peanuts, correct? Whatever. You guys get that. Whoever gets that, get that. You weren't there for sure. And then on Daf Tet Vav, I didn't get the fish schnitzel, but that was pretty gross. And on Daf Chaf Tes, I will always double sift my flour. Yet another meifis of Rav Eli. After many years, I found my missing cufflink in the flour that I sifted. And it's weird because you think a guy like me who never buttons my shirt would need a cufflink, but it's an incredible meifis of Rav Eli. Speaking of flour, could you imagine the kmitza of Shaq? I mean, his hands are like this to go in here. And then on Daf Lamed Ches, my biggest inspiration since I started learning again, the Mesiris Nefesh of the cow fatteners. Yosef, delete that. Look at this. Speaking about the cow fatteners, you guys realize how hard these charts are? I mean, I got to drill lines in like this over here. And I know I should be using PowerPoint instead of Word, but I mean, it's just really hard. So, anyways, okay, fine. Speaking of inspiration and the amount of hard work and tremendous effort you do in preparing the shiur, it's amazing to watch, Eli. Was it the Gemara we just learned where the extra effort of learning 101 times, where was that, Levi? Oh, too early for him. You go to Zichru. Oh, there he is, Zichru. What daf was that? Oh, you don't know exactly. Okay. Tet Amud Bet. We just did it a couple of weeks ago. Or really, was it all the time that you had season tickets watching MJ and especially Kobe when they came to visit to learn about what extra effort really is all about? Blah, 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 blah. Okay, hoping to make it to Eretz Yisrael. I'll bring my cat from Yerushalayim outside. Anonymous. Okay, guys, we're really late. I got to hurry up. Hold on 1 second. Okay, well, where was I? Okay, fine. Don't even worry. We're going to finish Amud Aleph today. We'll make it up on Motzei Shabbos. Speaking of which, since we hardly ever make it to Amud Bet anymore, we need more fundraisers. And now we'll be taking monthly sponsorships for turning to Amud Aleph. Our first sponsor for $10,000 is F70, Hamevin Yavin, for Hatzloche in Ruchnius and Gashmius for his brother-in-law. You guys already heard this one, so I'm going to just skip it. Speaking of sponsorships, it reminds me we have brand new merch. MDY certified. This might be messy. Hang on 1 second. Oh, MDY certified fish blood to start the day. I definitely made a bracha on this one already. Here we go. Woo! Atazoi. Not only that, you can also get in the merch your own, I dropped one, MDY lion. For those of you who never knew what a lion looked like until I stood on it, now you can know what a lion looks like. You also can get your very own MDY Woody, Chewy, and of course, let's not forget the Kale Twins, my friend, right here. All available in the merch store now. Now, if you don't want to sponsor the Daily Shir, the full day, the Kolol, the Parnas HaChodesh, the Turning of the Daf, the Mishnayos, the Chanukah gifts for the Koilo kids, the MDY Gemaras with your name inscribed inside, the Seltzer boys have come up with a great idea. They're not here, are they? No, both of them. Where are they? No, not here. All right. They came up with a fantastic idea that will let you watch the Shir at regular speed and still finish in 25 minutes. How? Say hello to the ad-free MDY Shir. For MDY subscription service, for only $1,800 a month, you'll get a special video stream of the Shir with absolutely no ads or sponsorships, saving you at least 20 minutes a day. What else? Oh, there we go. Look at this picture on the plane. This guy learning. He's very from. He doesn't show you the video. He's sitting in coach, so he's probably not from MDY. What does it say? I can't really see, but I'm not putting glasses. I'm way too vain for that. Whatever. I can't really read this. Okay. I can't see the clock. Whatever. I don't know what time it is. Since we only have a couple minutes left, I want to start with a riddle. How is it it's almost always perma? I'm going to tell you guys, don't guess. I'll tell you in the end. It's worth 10,000 points. Anyways, we're really late. We're holding 28 lines on the bottom of Chaf Aleph from the bottom. Have a wonderful day. Chodesh Tov.
Wow. Beautiful, beautiful. All right.
This fish blood is delicious. Fantastic.
Wow. Guten Chodesh Rabbi Sai.
I know.
Unbelievable. Stuff. Sponsors, no sponsors, though. Don't want sponsors.
Oh my gosh, what I just did.
A peanut. Agut in Chodesh Rabbi Sai. Mishenichnas Odor Marbim Besimcha. We're going to go straight to the sponsors. No emails today. The Paras HaChodesh. By Mr. Anonymous, Linish Chaya Bas Yosef, Linish Masimim Mirosi Ruspas Mordechai. Mesechtes Chagigah is dedicated by the Kessler and Davis families. Refor Shlomo for Miriam Esther Bas Dvar Bekarov. Paras HaChodesh is Chus for Shlomo ben Lifsha and Rivka Bas Gila that they should be Zoichot Zer Shekayom Bekarov. The Paras HaChodesh is by Sholi Rosenfeld in memory of my dear friend Yehuda Augenbaum. Paras HaChodesh by the Lack and Lebovich families, Lakewood, as a schus for our families. By Jonathan Davidov in memory of Bechor Davidov Ben Panir, may the Neshama have an aliyah. By Joanne Kestenbaum, this 20th of Adar, I celebrate my husband Manny, aka Menachem Mendel. What is it? Anniversary, I hope. But that's all it says here. All right, I think we have a very, very choshev guest here. I saw him walk in, but if not, here he is, David Dimbert from Chicago. Oh, here he is. He's sitting down. Mazel tov to his very, very first grandson. He's here. Shkoyach David. This has to do with yesterday's daf. So Reb Ralph Grosskopf, sent me an email. It says, with great respect, I'd like to point out the following. That when I showed my mikvah, the water level, he says, didn't reach the hashaka hole, which is not true. It does reach, Reb Rifal. In the video you can see. Yes, I sprinkle the water. But even if it doesn't reach, when I go into the mikvah, the water level goes up and reaches. So it's not a problem. Second hara that he said, if he said it, maybe other people thought the same thing. So that's why I'm bringing it up. You asked about placing vessels. Somebody asked me about putting forks and stuff into a basket and putting it into the mikvah. Does it work? So we discussed it. And it's okay, l'chayra, if you shake it up. I guess the best way to do it is to put it one at a time, let it drop to the bottom. As each one. One of the issues is if you put a lot of silverware together and they're all bundled up, it's possible that one of the pieces is going to have a chatzitza and not have complete water. So that's the answer to that. Okay. Rabbi Isai, here we go. Today is Daf Chav Beis. What we should do is take it back just a couple lines, even though we did it, and it's one of the big averos of Daf Yomi, is to go backwards. Here are the three big averos. Avera number one is you don't go to the next daf. Ever. Chas v'shalom. And we did that yesterday over the avera. So because we're already avera gereris avera, so we'll go backwards. Rav Amar, I will just say real quickly. What's going on here? We had a list of things that Truma is not as sensitive as Kachim. 11 things, 10 things, depending on who you ask. Rav Amar, when we're looking at these two red guys, and that's today's sugya. The headline of today's sugya is Kli b'toich Kli. Most of today is going to be focused on the idea of toiveling one kli within another kli. Where is that? Oh, it's interesting that Jonathan Stefansky, my cousin, did a phenomenal job. The Litzonas. Yosef is leaving for the shir. He's here for the Litzonas. He's leaving. I brought the same Zoicha to be mechaven to him. Why? Because yesterday I realized that even though this was a gift from Toronto, it was glass within glass. It was hard to notice. So now this one has color. We're putting it in it. This is today's sugya. Kli b'tach kli. If you're toivel, something like this, are you kashering the inside kli or not? Are you kashering the kli? Okay. Now, what we learned in the Mishnah is that for truma, which is the third level in the Mishnah, it works. This works. But for kachim, if this is for karbanos, it does not work. Why? So Rava says, yesterday we learned the pshat because this is a problem of chatzitza. Rava argues and says it's not a problem. So what is the problem? It can't be chatzitza because then it's doubling up. This is chatzitza. They have to undo ties in clothing for kachim, but not for truma. So what is the problem? So I have a kli. This is what we use in that mikvah video, and this is not a machat, but it's visible. You might do this. You might want to be toivel this needle, this green needle in here, a tzinar, a pen, whatever. And this is not a good tefillah. Why? Because the opening is less than 2 fingers. Let me ask you a question. If the opening is less than 2 fingers, can I be toivel this? Of course I could. How else did I use it? Why? Then what's the difference? If this is not enough for water to be mechaber, this makes a stop. It doesn't allow the mikveh to come in here. So if the mikveh can't come in, how can I be toivel it? We'll see soon. Says Rava, this is the problem. This is not the problem of chatzitza. The problem is somebody might, if you allow this, you might come to allow this, and this is no good. This is a small kli within a larger kli that has a very small opening, less than a shiferes hanoit, says Rava. That's the gzeira. So I said, never be toivel one kli inside another one. Kiddush nan, iruv mikvais shiferes hanoit. When I have 2 mikvais, one next to each other, like I showed you yesterday in the video, I filled up. By the way, that mikvah took probably close to $1,000 worth of ice, because ice is instead of mekshamim. We went over and over, the seltzer boys went to every gas station in the neighborhood. Took days upon days. We filled it and filled. We thought, oh, another 100 bags, it should be enough. 100 bags did that much. Another 100 bags, and each bag is 12 shekel. Kids, so do the math. And then you fill up the spot where you toivel in. First you do that bar. Then you fill up the other spot with regular sink water. And because you have that hole between the two, the rainwater, or the ice in this case, which is good midoraisa ice, for women, for everything, deraisa, it touches the other water, and the other water becomes kosher for tefillah. Iruv mikvais kishriferes hanois. But that hole, as we saw yesterday, must be that you could insert your 2 fingers. Ka'avia, from the outside, they could spin around in there, and that's where we're holding right now. Says the Gemara, the list is 11. According to Rav, it's fine. According to Rabbi Ela, that we're talking about chatzitza, so number 1 and number 5 are the same, so we erase 1. So now a total of 10 differences between truma and kachim. According to Rava, that's 2 different reasons. One is the reason of chatzitza, so that fits up over here. And then the other one is, this down here is chatzitza. This up here, kli b'tar kli, is a gzeira of a machat inside a less than shviferes hanoid. It's a different gzeira. Somebody sent me an email yesterday that in Far Rockaway, this is the Kela mikvah. Now, to me, this was a little sad. Far Rockaway. There's a lot of money flowing around Far Rockaway. And unfortunately, the mikvahs in Eretz Yisrael and the poor neighborhoods are much nicer than this. This looks sad. Okay. I show you the beautiful basket they have here in Eretz Yisrael. Why is this okay? We just discussed that. If it's outside, look, the rim is outside of the water level. Why is this okay? Because the Ramah says that if there's holes in the bottom, if you look closely, they poked holes in the bottom of a basket. Most baskets don't have that, but they made holes, little holes. And since it cannot be machzik mayim, if you try to have water stay in the bottom of this basket, it won't stay. It'll come right out of the bottom because of those small, tiny holes. Yes, it's less than a kishviferes hanoid. Nevertheless, it's kosher according to the Ramah. I don't know what the Sfardim hold. And Memela, that's probably why in Eretz Yisrael, they made a giant hole just to be to all shitas, even according to Sfardim. But the side is not kishviferes hanoid. They're not large enough. No.
Also because the whole mikvah outside the basket
Yeah.
is more than inside.
No, that's not the reason. That's not the reason. No, that doesn't help. That's exactly what we're talking about. If you take a basket and you're toivel kalim inside the basket and the whole mikvah is 5,000 sa, it's not a good tefillah. Because the outside, unless you have kishviferes hanoid, unless you have large holes, or the bottom has holes in it. The fact that the outside is a big mikvah doesn't help me at all.
That basket has 2 fingers.
Hmm?
That basket has very large holes. It has 2 fingers.
We're saying that it doesn't have. In case it doesn't have, then that's the reason. In the picture, it doesn't have. That you can spin it around. No, you won't be able to spin your fingers around there. Says Gemara, yeah. So we have 11. Sheish Rishon is bein lekodesh, bein lechulin, shenasal taras hakodesh. That we explained yesterday. Just to go over it again. A person, the only way you could take something that grows on a tree and make it to the level of kachim. Kachim does not grow on a tree. The only way to do it is in your head. If you think in your head that this fruit is going to be kodesh, I'm going to treat it with the respect that I treat kachim, then the first part of the list applies to it. And the second part, this part applies to even something that's only in your mind. This is only to real kachim, not to something that applies in your mind, because these are only the rabbanans. These are new concepts that are the Rabbana concepts. These are all based on the Eiraisa concepts, and therefore it applies also to something that just in your mind you decided it's kachim. The last part of the list is only for real kachim, not for something in your mind. Says the Gemara. Ma'ika bein the Rava l'Rebbe Ila. Rebbe Ila says the problem is chatzitza, kli b'toich kli. Rava says kli b'toich kli is a problem that the opening will be less than kishviferes hanoid. At the end of the day, I cannot be toivel this or this. So what's the difference? What the reason is? Says the Gemara. Ike beinayu sal v'gargoisni shemilam kelim v'dbilam. If you take a basket, like, where's that picture? In Farakaway, a boy says somebody sponsor a basket for them. Something, it's nice poles, I don't know what. New tile over here. Oy, Shem Yirachim. Sal v'gargoisni shemilam kelim v'dbilam. Leman domam shum chatzitza. If the problem is that the inside kli is touching the outside kli and the water doesn't get through the bottom of it, you're going to have the problem no matter how big the basket is. But if this is the problem and you're using a giant basket, has anybody ever seen a basket that the opening is small? It's impossible, then it's not a basket. A basket means that you can put large things in it, so it never ever has an opening that's less than kishviferes hanoid. So there's never a gzeira on a basket. Baskets are different than this. And it'll be okay. That's the nafkamina between Rava and Rebbe Ila. There's no such thing. Says Gemara, Rava goes according to his own sheet. If you take a basket and you fill it up with kalim. Here, this is like the question that we were discussing yesterday. Can you put a kli inside another kli and then be toivel it? Tahirin, it's a good tahara. Now, obviously, the basket is below the water level. Now, listen to this. This is maybe what you were saying before. If I have a mikvah, let's say a kalim mikvah, how big is it? It's like an amma by 3-4 ammas deep. So it barely has 40 sa, this mikvah. Now, I take it and I divide it down the middle with some sort of reshet, some sort of holy device. How do you say reshet in English? A net. right down the middle, I ruined the mikvah. The two sides don't come together. If you jump into the Keilim mikvah, by the way, somebody in the Keilim is telling me that he watched somebody drop a very expensive, the blender blade to the bottom of the mikvah. The guy was beside himself. So he told him, listen, if you pay for my shower in the mikvah, I'll go get it for you. So I told him, you're crazy. You don't go to the mikvah like that. You could kill yourself. There's glass on the bottom and everything. He said, no, there wasn't. And then a guy came by and he said, it happens to be that during Corona, people were jumping into these kelim and they got very injured. The bottom is full of glass. Don't try it at home. But anyway, he did the guy a chesed, he retrieved this there. Then another guy says, and if anybody wants a free oven rack, it's on the bottom of the kelim mikvah in Lachish. Says the Gemara Svara that if water comes from the ground, comes up from the ground, groundwater comes up, how much water do you need to be toivel? 40 sa. But why? That water is all connected and it goes to a river eventually. So you have connections through very, very small porous pipes, call them pipes, of dirt, of sand. Obviously it doesn't work. You need much larger holes. So Mela, a net is going to ruin your mikvah from side to side. But if you are toivel kalim in a basket and it's below the water line, then it's tar. Okay, that we explained. Says the Gemara, an amazing chiddush here. I'll tell you the truth. It took me time to understand this chiddush until I looked in Rashi. I worked on it for a long time. Then I said, Rashi is very simple. And I have to go back to the Koil and explain it to them. I said it yesterday and they're like arguing with me, but Rashi says it straight out. When is this a problem to put a pen inside a larger kli that has a small opening? When the outside kli is tar. So when I put this kli into the mikvah, the water that goes from the mikvah into the kli stops short over here by the opening because it's a small opening. But if this outside kli is tamei and I want to be mitar the outside kli and the inside kli, then I could be mitar the pen inside. I say pen. Don't write to me. Pens are plastic. Pens are not a kli. As a mashal. Says Rashi, beautiful. There's a new concept here. Kitumasoi kain ta'arasoi, says Rashi. Oh, that's all you need to know. 3 words, 4 words, 3 words. How did this kli become tameh? It has a very small opening. Well, it could become tameh even though it has a small opening. So it could become tar even though it has a very small opening. So once it could become tar, even though it has a small opening, so the water that goes in is mitar and is connected to the mikveh for that purpose, then it's mitar the pen inside. But if it's not, the water is not going in to be mitar it, and it has no right to go in, then the small opening stops the water from connecting it to the mikveh, and it remains tameh. It still needs thinking, but it's very good now. Ketumasoi, like it becomes tameh, kain ta'arasoi. It's a special halacha that tells me if something is able to become tameh, it has to have a way to become tar. You can't tell a guy that has a kli that with a small opening, oh, you bought it in the store, now Amaris touches, throw it out. It has to have, besides kli cheres, it has to have a way to become tar. So if it has a way to become tar, I allow the mikveh water to go in. Obviously, you're not going to fill it up with 40 saw. So how does it become tar? I let it become tar. Let it become tar. Then whatever's inside also becomes tar. But otherwise, if you don't want to make it tar, then it doesn't have the ability because it stops short with the smaller opening. Fine. This not learned in the Mishnah or Brisa Mishnah. If you take a kli and you fill it, you put another kli inside it, it becomes tar for truma. But if it's what's going on? Let's explain. This is exactly the halacha that we just learned. This is what I'm trying to say. If you don't need to be toivel this outer kli, like we just explained, then you need an opening a larger opening. If it's a smaller opening, it's going to prevent the inside kli from becoming tahar.
Meaning if they're kelim tahar.
What?
Meaning if they're kelim tahar, and then it has
If this is a kli tahar, then the reason why I'm filling up with water just for the kli inside, then the smaller opening stops the mikveh from connecting. If the outside kli is tameh, so I have the right to be mitayr my kli. Once the water goes in, it's mitayr the inner kli.
You don't say kelim tahar, you don't say any of that.
V'hadar Rava, it's not Roy Labila. At that point, it's not Roy Labila because it's tar, so you can't make it, whatever. V'hadar Rava with the Rebbe Eli Tanai. So this machlokes that a kli b'tar kli is a problem, either because of chatzitza, or kli b'tar kli is a problem because you might put a smaller instrument inside the larger kli. It's machlokes Tanai. Sanya. Saver v'gargoisni shemilam kelim v'vidbilom bein lekodesh bein letruma tahirin. If you put in. So now, if you hold that the problem is kishriferes hanoid, this is the problem, not this. The problem is that you might put a smaller kli in a very small opening. Then, if you put it in, the whole problem. This is the problem. But if you put it in a sal, in a large opening, and this kli never has a small opening, it's always good. So it doesn't matter. Truma, whatever it is, kodesh logo. However, Abishal argues, Oimer, L'truma avaloi l'kodesh. Why does he argue? Because he says this is the problem. The problem is chatzitza. When the problem is chatzitza, we don't care about truma, as the Gemara is going to explain right now why we don't care about truma. It works. Kli b'tar kli chatzitza works in truma. It doesn't work in kachim. Why? Here's the sugya. Yachi truma nami. It's chatzitza. Look here. I'm not a scientist. I'm assuming that if I put a very heavy kli on top of another kli, maybe it won't be 100% water between them. Maybe there'll be one area that the pressure won't allow water in there, maybe. And then it shouldn't work for truma either. What's the difference? What you're eating. This idea of chatzitza, it has to do with gravity. It has nothing to do with if it's truma or kachim. Says the Gemara, I'll explain to you very simply. The man Kamrina. Who are we concerned about? Chaveir. No time for chaverim. Okay, next. Yeah, it's for next year. I'm going to give you a good news for next year. A chaver is a person who's very careful about his food, to eat it with the utmost respect, concern for tumah. He treats even his chulin, he treats it with as if it's kachim. He's a chaver. On the other hand, we have a person with amaritz. He doesn't care what the rabbanim say. He doesn't care. He doesn't ask. He doesn't even go to the Rav to ask. And if the Rav tells him, sometimes he ignores, sometimes he says that. We know what these Amaratzim look like. We have them today, right? The rabbi, blah, blah. Okay. So, Chaverim made the Yadi. We're going to see the whole sugya. We don't care about Amaratzim. Why don't we care about Amaratzim? Because they don't care. We can't force them to do something they don't want to do. We can't impose rabbinical authority on them when they don't care about Rabbanim. Charedim, whatever. So, okay, ignore that part.
Leave it out.
Yeah. Oh, he cursed again. Fine. Zog the Gemara. So like this. Chaveri made the yadi. Yachi kodesh nami. So, what's the whole thing? Chaverim, what do Chaverim know? We are not going to make exeria for a Talmud Chacham. He knows that there's a chatzitza, so he'll undo this. He knows you're not supposed to use something that's less than Kishvifaris Hanois. Either way you go with Rava, you go with Ravila. The Talmud Chacham knows the halachas. He'll make sure not to be toivel in such a small opening. He'll make sure not to put a heavy kli on top of another heavy kli. He knows like Rafal Groskov. He'll shake it around, make sure that the water goes on everywhere. Okay, great. By the way, when I was a caterer, I had to be toivel one day. I want to say 3,000 glasses. I did it myself. Crazy. We had these baskets that you put the glasses in and they stay there forever and you pile them up and you put them into the dishwasher. I took them in those baskets, put it in the mikvah, had to wait till, water until it goes into the cup. It goes bloop, 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 and then there's a little bubble. You have to do it again. And then you go, shake it, and then you're good. And that's like 36. You have to do that over and over for hours, a truck full of stuff. Okay. Here at Eretz Yisrael, I was surprised to learn that the Badat says you don't have to be toivel because this soymach on mischar. It's for business. It's a cool, I think, but okay, fine, the soymach. The badat. Yochi kodesh nami. Says the Gemara, Chazilei ha'ma'aretz v'azal matbil. So, I got to show you this. This is very, very pashut. But it goes like this. Wow, we're not even going to get Talmud Beis. If you could zoom in on this, because the letters are very... I have a question for the Olam. If Ha'ma'aretz gives you an apple, could you eat the apple? Chulin, could you eat the apple? Anybody? No, you can't eat it. Why? Tame. If Ha'ma'aretz, 1 minute, if Ha'ma'aretz gives you truma, you're kain, could you eat it? No. Why? Tame. If Ha'ma'aretz gives you kachim, could you eat it? Yes. Unbelievable. Doesn't make any sense. Kachim is the most sensitive of all. The Gemara is going to tell us that the reason is that if you don't take his kachim, he's going to go crazy. What? I want to bring to the Beis Hamikdash wine and oil, Takadosh Baruch Hu, and you're not going to take it? You know what I'm going to do? I'm opening up my own Beis Hamikdash. Literally. I'm going to open up my own. All the Amaratzim get together, reform Beis Hamikdash. So in order not to make him mad, we say that on the highest level degree, he's allowed to eat. Oh. So truma, I'm not going to touch from the Amaretz. Kachim, I will. Oh, so it makes a lot of sense, says the Gemara. Kachim, if he sees me being toivel, a kli b'toich kli, he's going to do the same. And then he's going to feed it to you. And you have to eat it. You must eat his kachim. Well, it's tameh. It's kli b'toich kli. He doesn't know what he's doing. He doesn't know how to be makbin a chatzitza. So therefore I said there's one rule for everybody. When it comes to halachas, we never differentiate between Amaretz and a Talmud Chacham. We make one rule. Because of the Amaretz, we make one rule. And the rule is, no kli b'toich kli. In truma, in kachim, sorry. No kli b'toich kli in kachim because I eat his kachim. But in truma, where I don't eat his truma anyway, if he comes to me, I say, sorry, I'm not eating your truma. He's going to get insulted. Broikus? No. He has plenty of Amaratzim Kohanim to live in his neighborhood. He'll give it to them. He doesn't have to open up a new Beis Hamikdash for that. Mimela, I could be toivel, kli b'toich kli as long as I want. What is he going to do? He's going to imitate me? Let him imitate me. It's not going to hurt me. I'm never going to eat his food. But in kachim, it might come back to bite me. Why? Because I have to eat his kachim. If he gives me kachim, I'm not going to be a big tzaddik because then he's going to get mad at me and open up a Beis Hamikdash. Then he's going to imitate me. So I don't allow anybody, even Talmud Chacham, to be toivel, even though Talmud Chacham knows how to separate it and this it, and he knows this can't have a small O, big O. There's no Chachmas. It comes to Kachim, nobody gets to do Kachim. That's the Gemara's whole shot here. I went backwards. The Gemara goes this way. And the Gemara goes step by step here. Very, very simple stuff. Says the Gemara, did I make a bracha? Yachi kodesh nami, chazili amaretz v'azal matbil. Oh, Amaretz is going to imitate him. Oh, Truman nami, chazili amaretz v'azal matbil. Well, in Truman the same. That's the answer to this unbelievable question. We don't take truma from an Amaretz, but we'll take the highest level of kedusha that there is really, besides chatas, but you can't eat that. Kachim, a carbon. Kodesh nami, we shouldn't take it from him. Havilei Eva, they're going to hate us. Truma nami, Havilei Eva, they'll hate us. Lo yichbaslei, he doesn't care, he's not going to hate you. He's going to give it to his friend. Umantana, the chayish le'eva. Who's this Manda Omer that says that we have to be concerned that they're going to hate us? Rabbi Yosi, the Tanya, or Rabbi Yosi, so, at the end of the day, we're going to see later on, Daf Chavdal, there's a little bit of a rule, but why are people allowed to bring wine and oil to the Beis Hamikdash, even Amaratzim, everybody? In a time that Bama is Asur, which is most of history, the Amaretz is going to be upset and make his own Bama in his backyard. He's going to make his own paraduma, he's going to retire all his friends and everything. So that's it. By the way, it happened once in history. Chanya went to Mitzrayim and built his own Beis Hamikdash over there. Was he tzaddik? Not tzaddik. They had a whole sugya. And in our days, we take testimony even from an Amaretz. Kiman, Rabbi Yosi, we don't have to be all upset at us. Says Tais, very interesting. Don't decide that you're a Talmud Chacham, he's Amaretz. We don't know anything anymore. We're all okay. We're equal. So, what do we just say? We just said that when it comes to truma, this is not okay. This is okay. And when it comes to kachim, this is not okay. Why? Because truma, you're not going to eat the food, so there's no concern. Wait a minute. And this is a sugya now. What do you mean you're not going to eat the food? But I might borrow this. I'm a Talmud Chacham. I'm a chaver. I am going to borrow from my next door neighbor a glass. And he doesn't care. He doesn't know how to be toivelit. You said, I don't care if he doesn't know how to be toivelit, because you're not going to eat his food. But I'm going to use his kli. And you know how we toivel this kli? Like this. A dead person touched this kli. It mamish needs a tefillah now, big time. And he went and he put two, one inside the other, mamish tight. He threw it in the mikvah. He saw the Talmud Chacham doing it. And he imitated him. And he says, yeah, here, you can buy my kli. It's tar, mamish tar. He's not lying. He did what he saw the Talmud Chacham doing. How could we borrow a kli from an Amaretz? The Gemara is going to go through a whole tangent to prove me that we borrow kelim from Amaretzim. Even Chaverim borrow. What's the Gemara's answer? The simplest answer in the world. A Talmud Chacham must be toivel this kli every time he borrows from Amaretz. You're right. Every time you borrow. But before we get to that simple answer, we have to go through an amazing sugya. Says the Gemara, V'nechash l'sheila. But you're going to borrow the kli from an Amaretz and it's tamei. What are we going to do? Says the Gemara, Desnan, kli cheres matzal alakol. I got to show you this beautiful chart. It goes like this. A kli cheres, just real quick, let's see if I can find it over here. Jonathan, help me out. I got to be conscious for every word I say. If I say it or e, every time I go for a chart, I'm going to be thinking about Jonathan for the rest of the year. Pretend this is earthenware. Okay, we did this stamp so you could see through. This is earthenware, not glass. The only way in the world earthenware becomes tamei, not the only way. Well, maybe there's another way. But for what it's important to us, if a dead person touches this on the outside, it doesn't become tamei. People could touch all day long, it doesn't become tamei. Earthenware becomes tamei mitoichai. If in the airspace a dead rat goes into the airspace, then it becomes tamei. So what do? Very, very important. Look at this. Give out. We have here a 2-story house. 2-story house is a cutaway of a 2-story house. You got a dead man on the bottom. And he's holding his side. He says, Ani metame ba'il. Because he's dead, his tumah spreads on the entire first floor. Anything that's in there becomes tamei. If there's a hole between the first floor and the second floor, like a stairway, or just a nice circle that's more than a tefach, his tumah goes into the circle, spreads in the whole upper story. What does this guy do? He has a great idea. Earthenware doesn't become tamei if you touch it from the outside. He takes a nice pottery thing right over here, and he puts it inside the hole where the bottom is closed. He doesn't flip it this way because then there will be a problem. The tumah will go into the toich of the kli and it wouldn't do anything. He puts the bottom facing downwards, so now the tumah of the mace comes up, gets stopped up. L'chayra, everything in this room should be tahar. Okay, let's see. Says the Gemara, Kli cheres matzal alakol. If I put an earthenware in the hole, everything upstairs is tahar divrei beisil. Come Beis Shammai, and believe it or not, you're not going to believe it. Should I give it away? The Allah is like Beis Shammai. Say Beis Shammai, and it's mirafs and igra. It like doesn't make any sense what they're saying. Look at the arrows here. If this woman has dough, she's kneading dough, there's water in a vessel, that's completely tar. Everything else is tamei. The person, the woman is tamei. The kli, the glass, the bowl for the dough, everything is tamei. That's what Beis Shammai say. Could you please explain the logic here? If this is not a good concealment, so then the tumah goes in as matama everything, including the dough. If it is a good concealment, then nobody should become tamei. I'll ask you another question. If she's tamei and she has to go to the mikveh in 7 days from now because she's tamei tumas meis, and if she touches the dough, shouldn't it become tamei? What is going on here? Says the Gemara, Amru Beis Shammai, I'll explain to you. Good question. They asked nicely. We'll explain nicely. This kli is tamei. It's tamei. The amaretz for amaretz is tamei. Okay, it still doesn't explain our questions. Yeah.
It was already tamei.
Well, by him putting it in, it becomes tamei zamaretz. Vein kli tamei chaytzitz. Big aside. If a kli is tamei itself, it doesn't have the power to stop other tumah. It does nothing. Wait a minute. What do you mean? The food, the dough, the water inside this jug is tahar. We're going to explain it better and understand it better. When we allowed the food inside, we only allowed the Amaris to eat it. Again, we see this concept. We don't care about the Amaris. You know why? Because he doesn't care about us. We're not going to protect him from Tumah. He thinks he knows everything. When we give him a halacha, he laughs at us. So let him deal with his own thing. So we allowed him to eat the dough and the water. But for a regular person, they're not allowed to have the dough and the water. But how could I make the bowl tahar? What's the problem? L'cha! That's the problem. What does l'cha mean? The Talmud Chacham is going to knock on his door and say, do you have a bowl for my wife to make dough? And he's going to say, sure. And it's tamei. We said all this to prove what? That Talmud Chacham borrows bowls from an Amaris and he's allowed to borrow a bowl. All this. Tanya, Amr B'Shua. Now listen to this. This is incredible. Years later, comes Rabbi Shua and he says, Boishni midivrechem beishamai. I'm so embarrassed of you, beishamai. I can't explain what you're talking about. It makes no sense. These words, the one word, Boishni, was all the difference here. This lack of derech eretz to talk like that to beishamai. Boishni, I'm embarrassed. I can't even repeat what you're saying. And what's his question? A beautiful question. Efshar isha lo sheba reva. Is it possible that a woman is making dough? Isha v'areva tmeim. The bowl and the woman are 100% tamei tmei meis from the oil of this dead guy going through the hole and making her tamei. Shiva, 7 full days. She needs hazah from the paraduma. Ubatzik tar. Is it possible that the dough is going to be tar? Loigin, the same question. The jug, mali mashkin, loigin tamei tuma shiva, mashkin ta'irim. So listen to this. Comes one of the Talmidim and explains it to him beautifully. And how do you explain beautifully? He's Rabbi Shua. You can't be chutzpah. So he asked him questions. Let's take it step by step, Rabbi Shua. Let me try to explain to you. Please explain. What's the halacha? If the kli is tamei, and you put it right here in the hole, could it stop the toma from coming up? No, tamei, it doesn't help. Sorry. It's not chaytzitz. Kli, shalam haaretz, tamei tar. What about the actual kli? This kli? Tamei. V'mata oimer, loy tamei, kli mashgiach alecha. Now, if you tell Am Haaretz that all his earthenware in his house is tamei, is he going to listen to you? No. You know why? There's no way to make Kli cheres tahar. There's no way in the world. You just told him that $10,000 worth of his kalim is garbage. Throw it in the garbage. What does Amaretz do when you tell him such a thing? He right away rebels. Says, I'm not listening to the rabbis. And then he's chutzpahdik. He says, the opposite. You guys, you rabbis, all your kalim are tamei, mine are all good. So it goes like this. At the end of the day, the Amaris is not going to accept the fact that his kli cheres is tamei. So what do? We do something very simple, and everybody has to be on the same page here. We say that this kli that she's using, she herself, she could go to the mikveh and come to tar. So the Amaris will accept that. The kli, the metal kli, she'll accept it. The Amaris will accept it. We'll put it in the mikveh. We'll save him. We'll say, this kli cheres is tar. You're right. And it actually prevents tumah from coming up into your house. How? By protecting the water in the dough. We have to have one uniform halacha that works for everybody. And memela, I need to do something that the Amaris is not going to be upset at us and walk out of here and ruin it for us and give kalim to the Talmud Chacham that are Tameh. So I tell him, he's going to be makbid. If I tell him, look, this kli, you have to put in the mikveh. I'll put it in the mikveh and I'll give it to the Talmud Chacham when it's toivel. As long as I don't hurt him and I don't say that his cheres is worthless and he has to throw it all out. That is the reason of Beis Shammai and Rabbi Isai. Because of that, Rabbi Shua understood it. He was mekabel it. And he went back to his friends in Beis Hillel and he said, we have to go back and listen to Beis Shammai. They're right. And that was it. Let's see. Miyad holach Rabbi Shua. V'nishtatach al kivrei Beis Shammai. Not today. Not today. Holach Rabbi Shua v'nishtatach al kivrei Beis Shammai. Omar. Na'anesi lochem atzmis Beis Shammai. He said, you're right. I spoke against you. Na'anesi lochem atzmis Beis Shammai. I feel bad that I spoke against you. U'mastumish lochem kach. Things that are not understood very well. Look, this Talmud explained to me now. I understand 100%. Mufuroshois alachas kama v'kama. So first of all, one thing. You see from here that you should be makbid, very makbid on lashon. Just one word, boishni, caused him what? Amru kol yama vushchuru shina b'bnei Tani Yosef. His teeth were black. He fasted for the rest of his life because of that one word of disrespect to Talmud Chacham. Real quick, a maisa of Reb Shai. I know we're late, but we had the Purim spiel. Yeah, I'm finished, but I just want to say this quick maisa. Somebody made fun of Reb Shteiman, Zechron Livracha. So a guy told him, he said, what you learn in 30 days, Reb Shteiman learns in 1 day. And what you eat in 1 day, Reb Shteiman learns in 30 days. Eats in 30 days. Have a wonderful day and a good chodesh.